Okay. In previous session, when we concluded, we tried to see some guidelines and the procedures to submit the income tax return. Can you recall? We tried to share some procedures, some documents from where it will be available. Okay. So I will try to share my return in a very short time so that you will have a practical idea that what we actually do when we need to submit the income tax return. And in previous session, I also showed to you that who are supposed to submit their income tax return. Uh, so this is the cover page, and I already have notified to you that this form name is IT 11 Go 2016. From where it is available? From where these forms are available? Is it available from me or
স্যার
from?
এটা কি চালান না চালান নাম্বার নাকি?
It is the return of income and it is the form name, form title. I mean the form identification number. Okay. And this form is available in this site, right? I showed you in previous class that from where you can download this. Okay. So what have been mentioned here, that you need to fill out this cover page, and you need to attach this additional document which are applicable for you. See, if you have income from salaries, you need to attach this one, 24A. If you have income from house property, you need to attach 24B. If you have income from business or profession, you need to attach the 24C. And if you want to claim the tax rebate, you need to attach the schedule 24D. Now, if I ask you, if you have income from interest on securities, is there any schedule available to you? If you have income from interest on securities, is there any schedule available to you to add with this income tax return? Any idea, any guess that what we might do? Any idea? Okay, for all heading. So right now we have 10 heading. Previously we had 7 heading for income. But right now we have 10 headings. So say one heading is known as income from other sources. For this, there is no schedule, there is no specific schedule. So what I did, I prepared a rough work uh, where I tried to show the particulars of my income from other sources. It is my own preparation. Okay, it is prepared by myself. It is not available from the NVR website. So what I have done here, I have mentioned my income from other sources following some format from other schedules. Okay, so you see under the income from other sources, I have income from dividend, I have undesirable some interest income, I have some income from mutual fund, and these are my totals, and this is all about my income from other sources. Income from other sources. Okay, these are some kind of additional documents. So if you have income from interest on securities, you may need to attach this kind of additional attachment to show that how you have earned the income from interest on securities and what amount are exempted. Can you recall which amounts are exempted in case of income from interest on securities? Can anyone remind us that for which we will get some exemptions from out of the interest income?
স্যার ডিভিডেন্টের জন্য 50,000 পর্যন্ত ট্যাক্স এক্সেম্পটেড।
Yeah. For dividend share.
ইয়েস স্যার, ইয়েস স্যার।
but I have seen it is up to
No, sir, DPS is
25,000 in dividend, and for mutual fund it is up to 25,000. Have you seen from the recent changes, or can you refer any document?
স্যার
হুম।
নিখিলচন্দ্র শীল স্যারের বইয়ে দেখছিলাম,
Yeah.
স্যারের বইয়ে ছিল
হুম।
যে ডিভিডেন্ড ইনকাম 50,000 পর্যন্ত ট্যাক্স এক্সেম্পটেড।
Okay. Is it available right now before you?
Yes, sir. Sir, 128 page.
128
page.
Oh, so it recently probably has been changed. I didn't notice it. So in that case, I probably have ended up paying some extra taxes. Okay. So thank you for noting that.
Thank you, sir.
But previously it was 25,000. And so far I have knowledge regarding mutual fund income, it is also up to 25,000. So every year you need to look at the changes included in the income tax ordinance by the Finance Act. Every year, Finance Act. Okay. So we can refer, we can see also from the Finance Act that what are the changes in this kind of allowances. Okay. So what was my question? My question was that for which expenses I will get exemption in case of income from interest on securities. Can you recall?
the treasury bill.
That is totally exempted. But I have mentioned for some expenses, in case of income from interest on securities, I will get some allowances. I will get some exemptions that I can reduce my taxable income by this
surcharge
amount.
or
Right.
something like that, sir.
Sorry?
It's a surcharge, maybe, sir.
Surcharge.
Sir, এমন কিছু একটা ছিল স্যার, মানে এক্সট্রা কোনো এক্সপেন্স যদি হয় আমার এটার জন্য, তাহলে স্যার এটা এক্সেম্ট করা হবে।
Okay, but it can be anything, but I just like to get some specific point, like, okay, let me give you the hint. If you take money from bank in the name of borrowing, if you borrow money to buy some taxable securities from where you receive interest income, in that case the interest payable for the bank loan you took for buying the taxable securities, is that interest income, for that interest income, will you get tax exemption?
Yes, sir.
জি স্যার, পাওয়া যাবে।
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Interest on the loan.
Okay. The condition is that you have used up the borrowing for purchasing that security which you mentioned in your loan agreement. Say if you mention in the loan agreement that you are borrowing this amount of loan for purchasing the security A, taxable security A. But after having this loan, say 30% of that loan you have used up for buying the security B. In that case, will it work? In that case, it will not work. It will work up to which extent? The extent of the interest expense applicable for the loan which you have used for the security which you mentioned in the loan document that I am intending to take the loan for buying this security A. Have you got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, another exemption field was the bank charges and commission for collecting your interest income. Can you recall? Bank charges and commission for collecting your interest income, that is also tax.
Fee.
For that amount, you will get tax allowance. Okay. You can reduce the income by that amount, given that, what is the condition? The condition is that obviously that security must be taxable. The interest from that security must be taxable. Say income from treasury securities tax exempted. In that case, if bank charges some commission, you can't get allowance for that commission. Okay, but if it is say corporate bond, in that case, bank has charged some commission from you for collecting interest income against that corporate bond. In that case, you will get allowance for the charges charged by bank for collecting the interest income. Okay. Let's continue our discussion. Okay, in the cover page you see,
স্যার একটা কথা স্যার
sure,
স্যার আপনি ওখানে পার্টিকুলার দেখেন আদার ইনকামে যে ওখানে 1 আর 2 নাই, আপনার 3 থেকে শুরু। স্যার 1 আর 2 এ আপনার কি কি ছিল?
where
স্যার আদার পার্টিকুলার ইনকামসে, স্যার আদার ইনকামসে আর কি।
income from other sources.
জি স্যার ওখানে আপনার ডিভিডেন্ড থেকে শুরু হয়েছিল, কিন্তু হ্যাঁ 3 4 আছে স্যার, 1 2 কোথায় আপনার?
Okay, here is the 01, here is 02, here is 03, 04.
ওকে স্যার।
Have you seen the connection?
জি স্যার এখন দেখলাম।
Okay, so I tried to follow this format. Okay, let me show you from, okay, you see, I tried to follow this format. You see, it starts from 01 here, 02 here. These are, I mean the row number or cell number you can mention specifically. These are kind of some row number. Okay.
জি স্যার
Okay.
বুঝতে পারছি।
Okay. So let's continue with the cover page. Okay. So I have mentioned my assessment here. This one, 2020-21, the current assessment here, and the return submitted under section 82BB. I have mentioned about the implication of this in the previous class, and I have mentioned my name as an assessee, and I have mentioned the mail. These are some identifying general basic information. Okay, I have mentioned my TIN number. Okay, can you recall that I showed my TIN certificate to you? Can you
Yes, sir.
recall?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if anyone asks you or you want to open your TIN, how can you get your TIN certificate? Will you go to the income tax NVR office physically?
No, sir.
No, sir,
Website
online.
থেকে online থেকে sir নেওয়া হয়েছে।
You will visit this, and what you will do then? What you will do then?
Sir, register করব sir.
You will make the registration, and first of all you need to create an account, kind of the mail account or some kind of account in the portal, what you need to do to get the access. Okay, so after doing this, what you will get, you will get a detailed form, and you need to mention that what you do, what is your profession, from where you receive most of your income, from which location, and who is your employer, and when you will mention these things, which thing you will get immediately. Can you recall? I have mentioned a word, a term to you. You'll get your,
So jurisdiction finder.
you will get your tax jurisdiction. That means the applicable tax office for you, or the applicable tax regulation for you. Okay, so you need to find out that. So say right now you are So say you are a student, okay, just thinking of this kind of thing, okay. So say you have income from freelancing, okay. So if I select this, say you do some individual business, okay. Now your location, say your location is right, say I select your location is Cox's Bazar, okay. So I'm now selecting the business type, but it is only available for limited company. But if I select the location, I mention, okay, say Cox Bazar municipality area, ward number 1, and you see our jurisdiction address has become available for you, and the address of the tax office has already been made available to you, okay. So in my case, I do service, my location is Dhaka, and my employer, based on their list, my employer is Educational Institute, Teachers and Employees of Educational Institute. And out of the new list, I have selected Dhaka University, and you can immediately see the jurisdiction applicable for me. Have you seen it? Have you understood that? How can you find out your jurisdiction?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You see that what is the applicability of this information. Now, remember this, that my zone is 11, my circle is 231. Okay. I need to mention this specifically here. You see that I have mentioned my circle 231. I have mentioned my zone 11. Okay. And I have mentioned the TIN number here. Okay. Now, residential status, from the first few lectures, you have come to know that how can we determine the residential status and what is the implication of having the residential status. Okay. So based on my staying in this country in the income year, and also in the previous 4 years, I have found that I was resident in this income year. Okay. Now you see, can we recall that for in the very beginning lectures, we have learned that the minimum, not minimum, tax free income limit differ for this special person. Can you recall?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So in that case, if any option is applicable for you, in that case, you need to check that option. Okay. Now I have mentioned my date of birth, the income year which belong to me. I mean the income year for which I'm preparing this income tax return. Okay. I have mentioned my spouse name, then a spouse TIN number, then my parents, then these are some basic information. Okay. I don't need to explain this to you. Okay. Now, this is some kind of the information which are coming from attachment, which are coming from other document. Okay, say first of all, this is salaries. Okay, income from salary you need to mention. So the thing is that you need to mention the final taxable amount, taxable income from salary, which you have showed in the 24A schedule in detail. Have you got it? From where this information has come? What has been mentioned?
Yes, sir.
This is available in the annexure schedule 24A. Now let me show you that what I have did or what I have done in the schedule 24A. Okay, this is my this one. Okay, this one is my schedule 24A. Okay, so I probably have already showed to you that how I proceeded with calculation of this in this document. Okay, so these are available. This is available. This form is available in the name of Schedule 24A. So as a by regulation, we are supposed to pay taxes only on the basic pay and on the festival bonus and on the exam allowance we receive, exam allowance. Okay, this thing. Okay, but if you are not if you are public sector employee, in that case your taxable amount, taxable particulars are only basic pay and the festival allowance. Okay, so you see all of my allowances are totally tax exempted. That's why, see, if I showed to you that medical allowance 6,000 I have received in a particular in that income year, I have mentioned that 6,000 total is tax exempted. Can anyone tell me what was the rule for getting allowance in case of medical allowance? We learned it in the income from salary.
Sir, basic salary 10% অথবা annually 1,20,000
Maximum
যেটা কম
120,000. And
হ্যাঁ
between
যেটা
this,
কম
which
হবে
one we should take?
which one is lower?
Which one is lower? Okay, so in this way, what I so in other allowances, I have included this item manually. I have included book allowance, I have included off-campus allowance, which are particularly applicable for me. So in your case, when you will be filling out your own income tax return, in that case, you will see that you have some allowances which have not been listed here. In that case, what you need to do, you need to add the additional row to add those. Okay, so in this way, what I have done, I have calculated that I have this taxable income from salary, though I received this in the income year around 1.4 million, but I have calculated that out of this amount is what? This amount is tax exempted. Okay, so if you do not know it clearly, in that case, what you will do, you will get higher amount here if you do not do it clearly, or
Yes,
if
sir.
you do not know about this clearly.
Yes,
In
sir.
that case, you will end up taking higher value as taxable, right? That's why it is critical that you need to explore that for which I will get exemption, for which I will get allowances. Okay, so it is just an example. Let me continue
Sir, I have a
this
question.
one. Is there anyone asking something?
Sir. Yes, sir, I have a question, sir.
Sure.
Sir, if I do not consider the tax exempted amount and pay tax on a bigger amount, and in the following year I do realize that I should have done in a better way and I could have avoided some taxes, then what can I do?
Okay, so is it like that you want to as you have learned that you missed some allowances, now you need to take that allowances?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so far I can realize that this is not allowable. This is allowable only in the respective year. Am I clear to you?
And sir, yes, sir.
Okay.
So if I pay tax on a lower amount, like I have counted my tax exempted amount in a bigger way, and the authority learns that, then I am definitely penalized, right?
I
Sir?
couldn't listen you clearly because of some noises from your point.
So I was
Would you
saying
repeat?
that if I count my tax exempted amount in a wrong way, and ultimately in that particular year I pay less tax, and the authority learns that, then I will be penalized, right?
Right. In that case, you will be penalized for if it has been found that for doing that underestimation or doing some overestimation in the tax exemption, you have paid less amount of taxes. So you will be penalized not for doing the wrong thing there, rather you will be penalized if it has been found that you have paid taxes less than the amount what you need to pay. Am I clear?
Okay, sir.
Okay, but there is a
Sir, amount
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
স্যার অ্যামাউন্ট বেশি পেইড করলে এটা রিফান্ডেবল হওয়া উচিত ছিল না স্যার?
if you somehow if you pay up additional taxes or more taxes for whatever the reason, it may be the reason that you do not you didn't have the good knowledge on the allowances, or you did some mistake, whatever it is, in that case you need to take some special permission from the Deputy Commissioner of Taxes. You need to apply for a special privilege that you did some mistake. You need to revise your income tax return and you need to revise your payment. In that case, if they grant you the permission, in that case you can adjust that. Have you got it?
স্যার
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
স্যার
Yeah, I'm listening.
স্যার ইনকাম ট্যাক্স রিটার্ন প্রিপেয়ার করার জন্য স্যার মানে এমন কোনো সফটওয়্যার বা এমন কিছু কি আছে যে এখানে ইনপুট দিলে হচ্ছে অটোমেটিক্যালি হচ্ছে আমার রিটার্ন প্রিপেয়ার্ড হয়ে যাবে? মানে আমি যদি হচ্ছে শুধু মানে যেগুলা ইনপুট দেয় সেগুলো ইনপুট দেই এই টাইপের?
Okay, that is a very good question. In that case, you need to go to the e-services tab in the NVR site, and if you go to the income tax e-filing, you see?
Yes, sir.
Okay, if you go there and it is showing some security problem, and if you like to proceed in any way, you will be directed to this, you will be directed here. Okay,
Yes, sir. Yes,
this
sir.
is the site. You need to remember for submitting your income tax return online. In that case, what you do not need to do, you do not need to fill out these forms. You do not need to fill out these forms manually. Okay, so here the system is like that. If you just write down the particulars of your income, that means how much you
Yes, sir.
receive from these sources, in that case it will automatically calculate that how much allowances you are eligible to receive.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
but can you see this headline?
The online return for assessment year 2019-20 is now ready for submission.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
now which assessment year we are mentioning here in case of my
So
income tax return?
2021, sir.
2021.
2021.
So have you realized that for this assessment year this system didn't work?
No, sir. এটা তো স্যার এর আগের জন্য স্যার।
Right, this system
এর
didn't
আগের
work for this year for some technical reason and for some complicacy, but tax authority is expecting to resume this online submission in the next year for one particular tax zone 6. This system worked in this year, but for last 3 years I mean except this current year, I submitted my income tax return through e-filing system. Okay, but my experience is that it is so far it is not very user friendly portal which has been developed. Okay, so you need
Yes, sir.
to have a very good skill in facing some technical complexities, so people will find it difficult. And the statistics is that I can't recall right now, approximately more around 5 or 6,000 Assessee have submitted their income tax return online in the assessment year 2019-20. So is it a very good number out of out of 24 million people who submit their income tax return, out of the 4.8 million income tax, TIN holders.
No, sir.
So out of these people, so it is a very poor number. The one reason is not that people do not know about it. People know about it, but people have found it not very user friendly. Okay. So one thing I just like to share, say, you may find it very funny. Which Acrobat reader you use in your personal PC?
So Adobe Acrobat.
Adobe
Yes, sir.
Acrobat,
Reader.
kind of X plus or DX, these versions.
So এটা বলতে পারতেছি না, স্যার।
Okay. Okay, DC, not DX. Okay, Adobe Acrobat X or Adobe Acrobat DC. Can anyone recall that when you started using Adobe Acrobat, which version was available? Can you recall
7
there was
maybe.
a Adobe Acrobat 11, 10, 9? Can you recall this? Anyone? Any techno person?
স্যার আমি তো মনে হয় 7 ইউজ করছিলাম, আমার খেয়াল হচ্ছে না খুব একটা।
Okay, okay, fine. So if you use 7, in that case, right now you will not feel it comfortable using 7, right? Or you will not
Yes,
feel
sir.
comfortable using 10. Rather, you will try to use this, right?
Latest version, yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. And in the Chrome, this is the mostly used browser by the people in the world, right? And you are not the different. Okay. And do you know which browser is recommended by the e-filing, income tax return e-filing? Can anyone guess which browser they may recommend to the user?
Mozilla Firefox.
Okay. Okay, this is a good option, good guess. Okay, Mozilla Firefox. Can anyone tell me that which version of Mozilla Firefox you have used recently?
Sir, latest type তো।
Latest. Have you ever seen the version number? Right now it is more than 50. Right now it is more than 50.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So Adobe Acrobat 10 is required, first of all. Mozilla Firefox, if you like to work to file the income tax return, you need to install Mozilla Firefox 6. And if you do not like Mozilla Firefox, still it is not the recommended version to the users to submit their e-filing. The recommended version is not Microsoft Edge. Okay. So still,
স্যার এটা তো কেউ ইউজই করে না, স্যার।
okay, let me show you the guideline. Guideline, you see the guideline? Okay. Return online filing account English guideline. Okay, this is a 26-page guideline. So you will try, let me show you that what have been recommended here. It is a guideline to prepare your income tax, a TIN number, tax identification number. Okay. Okay. Now, Okay, you have your, okay, these are kind of just opening the account. Okay, computer configuration, this one you should see. This one and the common instruction. Okay, not this one, yeah, manual. Okay. Now you need to set up your PC in this way. You need to make the Adobe Acrobat as a default application for opening the PDF file. And you see which configuration they have recommended first.
Explorer.
Configuration on Internet Explorer. Okay. So in this way, then set up Adobe Reader. You see which Adobe Reader, this is the latest one, probably. But I have seen that it does not work smoothly, or it stopped working in the latest Adobe. Okay, so have you seen any guideline for your Chrome setup or Mozilla Firefox?
No, sir.
No, right? Okay, so if you like to see now Internet Explorer, was working probably in 2019. So far I can recall, I last worked in Internet Explorer in 2019 to submit my income tax return. But in 2020, I have realized that Internet Explorer now does not work. If you open the Internet Explorer, it will automatically direct you to the Microsoft Edge. Have you seen it?
Yes, sir.
So that is the issue, that the story why the number is 5,000 to 6,000. Okay, so I'm not kind of the people who are expert in solving some technical glitches or technical problems in the PC, but I try my best. But I have not recommended anyone to submit their income tax return online. From my experience, though, I submitted approximately 3 years my income tax return through online, and I had to spend probably not less than 2 days to set up and to accommodate and to finally submitting my income tax return. Okay, so there are some groups in the social media, Facebook. You will see that income tax return fill up helpline group, this kind of group. Okay, so you will see there are so many experts that will suggest you how can you accommodate this system to submit your income tax return online. So I had to take advice from the experts there. But in this what happened in this 2021 assessment year, you probably have listened, or you probably have read the news in the newspaper that one Vietnamese company was responsible for developing this. The system what you see here. Okay, which one? This one. Okay, online filing. So this system, the portal system is not very attractive. I mean, see, I just have opened this in my Chrome. Okay, it has not opened. Okay, so what do you do?
Sir,
Yeah, what you'll do that now?
sir, আমরা ওয়ার্ড ফাইলটা দেখতেছি আসলে।
You're watching what file?
Yes, sir. At least I am watching. I don't know about others.
but I have kept my screen sharing on for all screen.
ক্রোম দেখা যাচ্ছে তো স্যার, ক্রোমই দেখা যাচ্ছে।
ক্রোম
আমরাও তো ব্রাউজারই
দেখা যাচ্ছে।
দেখতেছি।
Okay, but now it is not Word file, it is in blank. Okay, what I have done, where I have clicked to access the income tax online filing system, I have clicked here. Okay, now it has come here. Okay, let me show you if it works. Let me show you some additional problem. Okay. I can't recall my password, so it may take time because when I took my system, okay, there is no problem. I think if I check my password from here.
স্যার ফরগেট পাসওয়ার্ডের অপশন আছে কি?
Huh?
ফরগেট পাসওয়ার্ডের অপশন।
Forget password. Okay.
নাই মনে হয় স্যার, দেখলাম
Now
তো।
it is. You see, is there any option here?
না স্যার।
Okay, I'll show you that. I'll tell you what I had to do. I forgot my password. Then I got locked in the system. Then what I had to do to get recovered my credentials. Okay. This is very first. Okay. Okay. So does it look attractive?
একদমই না স্যার।
Okay.
স্যার সবচেয়ে বড় কথা স্যার, মানে এমন একটা জায়গা, মানে স্যার নট সিকিউর স্যার সাইটটা, মানে
Okay. Okay. Now, usually what we need to do, if you like to file a new tax return, you need to click here. Now, it is working very hard for you to open the page for filing a new tax return. Okay. Now, the system somehow not working. That's why you see no option here. So for this year, it didn't work. Okay. But if I like to show you my filing history, that what I did, filing history, I do not know. Okay. That I submitted some of my income return online. So if I click in the tax type, there is no option right now, but it was available 4 or 5 months ago. Okay. Now this option is not working, but if I like to select some date that when I submitted my return, that it will explore between the time to see any file available for me. In the last year, when I was out of Bangladesh, I submitted my income tax return online. Okay. So I have selected a date range between October 10 and November 30. Probably I can recall I submitted my income tax return. Okay. So there is no history based on the given parameters, but I'm sure that I submitted my income tax return between this date. Okay, for the year, for the income year 2018-19. Okay, so what I was trying to tell you that a Vietnamese company was responsible for developing this system, and you can check it from the newspaper also. And there was an agreement for 5 or 3 years with NVR to maintain this system. But in this year, I mean the 2020, the contract has become matured and there is no more agreement with that company. That's why NVR couldn't make sure that this system will work for this year. And finally it declared that you will have to submit your income tax return physically. Okay, so just to tell my story that what I had to do then when I forgot my password. Okay, so I have clicked the log off first. Okay, so right now there is an option that you can reset your password. You see the change password.
Yes, sir.
So if you come here, still you have to give your password here, the existing password. But for the issue where you will forget your password, right now there is a system that you need to send an email. You need to send an email for getting your password reset. But when I was among the very few people who took the online registration and who submitted their income tax return online. But the matter is that when I forgot my password, I had to visit two offices. One office is my jurisdiction office. I already have showed to you that in the Shagun Bagicha, I mean the tax zone 11 office. Then I also had to visit to there is a IT office in the NVR office in Shagun Bagicha. Shagun Bagicha 2 or Shagun Bagicha 1. I can't right now recall the holding. Okay. Then I was able to recover my credentials. Okay. So that is the thing I had to face. Okay. So let's continue. What I had to share that it is the story that related to the submission of income tax return online. Okay. So that is not a very pleasant story. Okay. Okay, let's continue with our income tax return fill up. Okay. So you can continue other income, interest on securities, income from house property. We will show the income from business or profession in today's class in the second part. Then you have got your total income. Okay, after adding up all of this. Okay. Can you count the number of income particulars in this sheet? That how many types of income you may have?
33.
33.
10.
33 minus 24 or 33 minus 24 plus 1?
Sir, +1.
Plus 1. So how many? How many in total? How many heads? How many heads of income
10টা,
you
sir.
can have?
10টা.
Have I just mentioned that you will have 10 heads of income? Have you got these 10 heads?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if anyone asks you in any interview that how many heads of income you have learned from your tax class which are available in the income tax return, or how many heads a person may have income according to the income tax ordinance or income tax regulation. Okay, so you need to keep it in your mind that a person may have income from salary, from interest on securities, from income from house property, or agriculture income, or income from business profession, or income from capital gain, and income from other sources. These are some additional income, share of income from partnership firm or association of partners. Okay, AOP means association of partners. Okay, income of minor or a spouse under section 43, in which case it is applicable. Say your spouse is supposed to submit the income tax return, but she does not want to submit the income tax return separately. Rather, she wants to add her income particulars with you. In that case, you need to include her income under this heading. Okay, then you may have some foreign income. Say some of you who are receiving freelancing income, from where you are receiving this income. I mean, if you are a freelancer and your client is from a country out of Bangladesh, in that case, you are receiving foreign income.
Yes, sir.
Can you recall I mentioned that freelancing income is tax exempted?
Yes, sir.
Given that, what is the condition? What is the condition?
Sir.
I shared it.
More
You need to check
ট্যাক্স
it.
রিটার্ন জমা দিতে হবে।
Thank you. You have to submit your income tax return properly. Okay, and you need to disclose the freelancing income you are receiving. Okay, so I already have told about these particulars when we are calculating the investment tax credit and we are calculating the investment final tax liability. Probably you can recall. Okay, can you recall that I have mentioned the net wealth surcharge in the previous class, that if you have a wealth greater than 3 crore, can you recall?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay, in that case, applicable surcharge will be available here. As I'm a poor person, I do not have this kind of net wealth surcharge. It is not applicable for me. Okay, and for my jurisdiction, what is the minimum tax? As my region is within Dhaka South City Corporation, what is my minimum tax?
5,000.
5,000. Okay. So these are the ways that you need to understand something by yourself by doing some mental calculation. And you see, these are some instruction enclosures and verification page. There are some statements. You see that anyone is supposed to submit the statement of assets, liabilities, and expenses. There are some conditions. Say, let me mention one condition. If you have a motor car, in that case, you are supposed to submit this statement. Okay. And in general, many Assessee are supposed to submit their statement of lifestyle expenses. Okay, that how much expenses they have made in the last income year. Okay, so is there anyone among us who record his daily expenses to some app like Money Manager?
স্যার হলে থাকলে করতাম।
হলে থাকতে করতেন?
জি স্যার, তখন অ্যাপ
But-
ইউজ করতাম আর কি।
Okay, so now?
স্যার এখন বাসায় তো, এখন তো আর খরচপাতি নাই আর কি।
Okay, that is a good thing because you are not accountable anymore to anyone. Okay, okay, but matter is that there is no choice. If you are supposed to submit your statement of assets, liabilities, and expenses, a statement of lifestyle expenses. So let me just show you a quick review of the statement of assets, liabilities, what I had to submit. That I would like to show you that what are the particulars available there. Okay, you see a statement of assets, liabilities, and expenses. What is the title of this form? I mean the ID of this form, this one, right? Okay,
Yes,
from
sir.
where it is available? In the same place.
NBR.
Same place from where you have downloaded other forms. Okay, you see, schedule 25 is the integral part of this statement. This statement means the statement in which right now we are checking the assets, liabilities, and expenses. This is schedule 24 is the addition of this statement. Okay, if you have business capital or agriculture or non-agriculture property, it is for what purposes? For providing some additional evidence. If you feel that schedule 25 is not sufficient enough to disclose the particulars what you have. In that case, you need to provide additional document. You see, Schedule 25, it is the annexure of which document? This document, a statement of assets, liabilities, and expenses. So what I have done here, I did fill the basic information, and I have mentioned some of my non-agricultural property in a way that I have some I have inherited one share in an institution. In one share, I have mentioned that here. Okay. Then in financial assets, I have mentioned the market value. No, not the market value. It is to be the book value. It is to be the book value. I mean the purchasing cost of this investment value. Okay. So it is available from the portfolio statement you receive from the brokerage house where you maintain your BO account. Okay. From there, you will see that they will report your portfolio statement. Now tell me, of which statement date I will record this book value? Of which statement date? It is of the whole income year or on a particular date as of like the balance sheet?
Sir, last date, sir, income year.
Last date of the income year. Is it here?
Yes, sir.
30 June 2020. Okay. Now I do not have any savings certificate, bonds, and other government securities, but I was supposed to maintain a DPS in any way. I have included the balance on the 30th June 2020. So summing up all of this, I have added up the financial assets value. Okay. Then if you have the motor car, you need to include this here. And I have a gold ring that is approximate price was 12,000. I have included here. And as a very young job holder, I have to buy some furnitures, some equipment, some electronic items, including my laptop and my mobile phone. All of this purchasing cost are summed up to how much? This figure. Okay. And I have included other assets of significant value. Right now, I can't recall that which items of assets I consider as significant for me. Okay.
স্যার একটা
So,
কথা
yeah.
স্যার এখানে গোল্ড রিং এর যে ভ্যালুটা দেওয়া আছে স্যার, এটা যদি আমি সাপোজ আমি যদি আমার ওয়াইফকে কিনে দেই বা এরকম আমি আমার অন্য কাউকে দিলাম, সেটাও কি ইনক্লুড করতে হবে এখানে?
Okay.
মানে আমারই কি থাকতে হবে এইটা বলছি আর কি।
Okay. You need to ask the question that who owns this property right now?
আমি তো
You have bought the ring for your spouse. Now
জি
you
স্যার।
are claiming ownership by you.
না স্যার, ওটা তো আমি আমার ওয়াইফরে দিয়ে দিছি, তো স্পাউসরে দিয়ে দিছি।
So in that case, who is the owner?
স্যার এখন তো স্পাউস হয়ে গেল।
Okay. So in that way, you need to, but there is no hard and fast rule. But the thing is that if you can convince your spouse that I am the owner, but you are the user of this gold ring. So for tax purposes, I am trying to claim that I am the owner, but really you need to feel that you are the owner. So in that case, you can show it. Have you got it?
জি স্যার, বুঝতে পারছি।
স্যার ওনারশিপ প্রুভ করব কিভাবে, মানে আর কাউকে দিলে এবার কিভাবে প্রুভ করব?
Okay. In that case, you need to disclose that who is actually possessing this. Okay. Say the ring, or say I have a challan for buying this. When you want to buy the gold from the gold shop, you will be given an invoice and a challan.
জি স্যার।
You can ask from your mother that how our mother claims ownership on their gold property, because their name are on the challan and on the invoice. Okay, fathers are not the owners of the gold property what we have in our home. Do you know this?
No, sir, জানতাম না actually.
Okay, so that is the way. I mean, if you ask for some legal document, that is the legal document. Okay.
জি sir.
Okay.
Sir.
Okay. Yeah.
Sir, that means it can be a very good tax avoid. I mean, if I want to avoid some taxes and then I give something to my family member.
How?
জি স্যার,
How?
অনেকেই তো এই কাজটা করে, তার ভাই
Sir,
ভাবি
আমার
কিংবা
taxable
না।
income অনেক হাই হয়ে গেল।
হুম।
মনে করি যে আমার ট্যাক্সেবল ইনকাম অনেক বেশি এন্ড আমি একটু কম ট্যাক্স পে করতে চাচ্ছি, তো আমি কোনো একটা প্রপার্টি কিনে লাইক একটা কার কিনে আমি গিফট করে দিলাম আমার
হুম।
ফ্যামিলি মেম্বারদের ভিতরে কাউকে,
হুম।
তাহলে আমি তো ট্যাক্সটা অ্যাভয়েড করতে পারতেছি এভাবে,
No,
তাই না?
no. Don't misunderstand.
এটাই জিজ্ঞেস।
No, don't misunderstand me.
কেন স্যার?
Okay. What is the base of the tax? Income tax? Is it
ইনকাম।
income? Whatever the
Yes, sir.
expenses you make, is there any
বুঝতে পারছি স্যার।
changes on it?
নো স্যার।
No, sir.
These are some additional document, a statement of assets and liabilities, a statement of lifestyle expenses. For what purpose? Guess out. For what purpose you are attaching this document?
অ্যাকচুয়ালি ইনকাম কত সেটা দেখার জন্য।
Okay. So for example,
ইয়েস স্যার।
someone is showing that his taxable income in a particular year is say 10 million, and his statement and liabilities express that he has around say 20 million assets. Okay. And he has disclosed his lifestyle expenses. If it has been found that he has spent 15 million, he has spent 15 million in his daughter's wedding anniversary, or not wedding anniversary, wedding reception in a very magnificent way. Will he be caught if these documents are available?
স্যার যদি ক্যাশ থাকে ব্যাংকের মধ্যে ওইটাও তো স্যার মানে সে এক্সপোজ করবে, তো সেই ক্ষেত্রে তো স্যার আবার কিছু করতে
It
পারবে
is
না।
here. Your bank balance is included here.
স্যার মানে আমার ব্যাংক মানে আমার যে অ্যাসেট গুলো আছে সেখানে তো স্যার ব্যাংক ব্যালেন্সও থাকবে না। তাহলে স্যার ধরেন ব্যাংক ব্যালেন্স যদি ধরেন হচ্ছে মানে আমার মানে মানে যে খরচটা হইলো 15 মিলিয়ন, তো যদি ব্যাংক ব্যালেন্স হচ্ছে এর চেয়ে অনেক বেশি থাকে, তো সেই ক্ষেত্রে তো স্যার হয়তো
I already have given you the information that total assets of you is 20 million. And the income in a particular income year you have earned how much? 10 million. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So if you have spent, if it has been found that you have spent 15 million in the program, is it very compatible with these figures?
So not very compatible, sir.
That is the issue. Okay. So the purpose of submitting the statement of liabilities and statement of life expenses and a statement of assets and liabilities for doing cross-check with what? With the income particulars you have presented. For what purpose? For paying taxes. Okay. So there is no scope for avoiding taxes by having more expenses. But one thing is true, that you can reduce your tax liability by doing some expenses which are allowable, which have been included in the 6th schedule. Can you recall? that there are some expenses, there are some investment based on which I will get investment allowance and I can reduce my tax liability. Can you recall this learning?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let me give you some example of expenses. Let me show you how you can reduce your taxes. Okay. By buying some assets which you require. Okay. You have bought a desktop for personal use for yourself. You are an assessee, you have purchased a desktop. Okay. Now, if the desktop price is 60,000, there is no way to show that you will get, you will claim investment allowance for 60,000. There is a ceiling. The ceiling is 50,000. Okay. For laptop, the ceiling is 100,000. Okay. So these are some personal asset expenses, what you can do for getting investment allowances, which will help you to reduce the, tax liability. So these are the available. You need to check it every year that is it still available now. Okay. Now, when it was introduced when government planned to see that computer is available in every house in Bangladesh. Okay. But right now this have become very common. These items have become very common in our house. In that case, government will try to reduce this kind of facility, this kind of advantages. Okay. Government has some holistic purposes for giving investment allowances for this kind of expenses. Okay. Now tell me, if it is available that for desktop every year 50,000 investment allowances you can claim. Can you recall that still there are three numbers what you need to compare to get the investment allowance? Actual one, then the 15% of the 25% of the total income excluding the dot. Can you recall the dot?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'm not
1,50,00,000 lakh.
No, yeah, the third one is 1.5 crore. Still you need to compare this. Okay, now tell me, for avoiding taxes, would you buy desktop every year?
No, sir.
Okay, that is not the good way to avoid taxes. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's continue, and we need to finish the learning for income tax return. Okay.
স্যার একটা কোশ্চেন ছিল।
Okay, what is the question?
স্যার আমার ইনভেস্টমেন্ট অ্যালাউয়েন্স যদি ট্যাক্সেবল ইনকামের চেয়ে বেশি হয় সেক্ষেত্রে কি আমাকে আর তো ট্যাক্স দিয়ে তো মাইনাস আসতেছে, সেক্ষেত্রে কি ট্যাক্স দিতে হবে?
It cannot be. The condition what you have mentioned, it cannot be any way. Okay. Investment allowance cannot exceed your total income. Okay. If you do some rough calculation, you will see that it is not possible. It is not technically feasible. Government is not full. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So, okay. Then I have included my gross wealth. Then I have included my liabilities, and I have some significant liabilities this way. No, this is manual living expenditure. Okay. I have this liability, and after subtracting this liability, I have the net wealth. Okay. So can you recall which net wealth I mentioned here? Here. No, this one. Surcharge on net wealth. Surcharge not on the gross wealth. Surcharge is on the net wealth. Okay, so how can you avoid paying surcharge? Is there any technique available to you?
So যদি স্যার liability থাকে বেশি অ্যাসেটের
Yeah,
পাশাপাশি
that is a good idea, that by increasing your liability, you can reduce your net wealth so that you will be able to escape from the surcharge. Okay, so that is the way practiced by the wealthy individuals in our country. Okay, so they have a good amount of assets. In addition to that, they also try to maintain good amount of liabilities. Okay, so to get some tax advantages. Okay, now I have included my fund outflow. So these are some check and balances. So I can't record my expenses precisely by using Money Manager app or some Excel sheet. It may not be somehow I can't maintain it. For example, if I start to record my expenses in a particular month, but in the next month I see I couldn't record all of my expenses. Okay, but when I started my university education, living in the dormitory Kabi Joshimuddin Hall in the 2009 February, when I started living in the dorm, I started recording all of my expenses. All of my expenses in some sheet. There was no Android mobile smartphone there. We used to have some feature phone. Can you recall using feature phone?
Yes, sir.
So it is
Yes,
it is not very friendly for recording this kind of expenses. So I was trying to maintain some sheet, some paper to include all of my expenses, like how much I spent for breakfast, how much I spent for mobile recharge, how much I spent for buying a book from Nilkhet, and how much I
নোট ফটোকপি
spent,
করা
yeah, how much I spent in the shadow for photocopying. Okay, these things. Okay, there have been a long list. It's a kind of very inefficient way. Okay, so after maintaining probably up to June or 2009, I stopped recording because I found it not feasible for me. But in a rough calculation, I was able to manage my expenses within 3,000 monthly in that time. I mean during the 2009-10. But I'm very confident that it is approximately now 50% or 40% of the lifestyle expenses you need to bear in 2020 or 2021. Is it true that the lifestyle expenses has gone up over
Yes,
the
sir.
years?
Yes, sir.
yes, sir.
Okay, so I can still recall that I could have a breakfast in the canteen at a price 3 parota multiplied by 3, 5 taka bhaji, 14 taka.
জি স্যার এখনো খাওয়া যায় স্যার
I still can recall that price. Okay, and then 18 taka rice in the lunch and 5 taka 18 taka lunch rice including fish or chicken, and 5 taka is bhaji, total 23. So when I was graduating in the 2013, it went up to approximately 27 or 30 in this price. Okay, so I can't
So it's
forget
now
those.
40
Yeah,
to 50.
now 40 to 50. Is it now 40 to 50?
Yes, sir.
জি
This
স্যার
price
Total. In total. Yes,
in
sir.
total means I mean
লাঞ্চ
the lunch.
Yes, sir. That price.
Lunch is now
Yes,
ranging
sir.
between
Lunch.
40 to 50.
ইয়েস স্যার
Yes.
Okay,
স্যার সেটা মাছ দিয়ে খাই স্যার মাছ বা এগুলো কিছু ইউজ করে আর কি।
okay. Still, is there any option for me if I have 25?
ইয়েস স্যার পসিবল
আছে স্যার আছে
ডিম
স্যার
দিয়ে
ডাল আর সবজি আর কি
Okay, that will be very irony for me. because I did.
ডিম দিয়ে খেতে পারবেন।
Sorry.
ডিম দিয়ে খেতে পারবেন।
Okay, there was another option to have the khichuri from Surya Sen.
Dakshu.
I
Yeah.
Surya Sen
Still available, sir.
is still available. Okay, so
It's 30 now.
30. Okay, no, it was not 25. It was approximately 15 to 25. I can't recall right now this all because, but most of the items I can recall that. How much is noodles now?
So
Including
25.
egg fry, 25.
No, sir. Including egg, that's 35, sir.
Yes, sir.
35.
Including egg, 35.
Okay, it was in this range, 25. Okay, so whatever, we just have recalled some sweet memories. Okay, so let me continue. So can you recall this item name when you fail to balance the financial statements in your financial accounting course? There is a account, suspense account.
Yes, sir. Onishchit hishab.
Okay, it is a very favorite account to you.
Ji sir, onko na mille suspend.
Okay, so in your actual life expenses, it is very likely that as you are not maintaining your lifestyle expenses record, that it is very likely that you will get it mismatched, that you can't match that, you can't match this number, that these things you need to have a very common. Just I like to show you this way. You see that I have this net wealth, right? I have this net wealth. Okay, in which year? In this current year. Okay, in the previous income year, how much net wealth I had? This. Okay, how much net wealth I have been able to increase in this year? This amount, 893,892. Okay, now 893,892. Okay, let me show you some basic trick. Okay, this is available. Net wealth, some of this is in the form of asset, in the form of fixed asset, or in the form of laptop or something. Okay, now how much total income I have been able to receive in this income year? Where it is? Approximately, and just including my salary, ignoring others. Okay, it is probably in other document. It is probably in the 93. Okay, I'm just telling you that how much annual expenses I can afford in a year, that if this is the total income I have received. Okay, I'm not inviting any complexities. The amount is 14. Okay, let me write this amount for in this way. Okay, how much maximum expenses in a particular income year I can make up? This amount, if I do not borrow anything. This is the increase in the net wealth. No, this is the increase in the net wealth from the previous year to this year. Okay, now you see that I have generated this amount of income in this income year. Now, if I generate this amount of net wealth in this income year, the difference between this can be my maximum life expenses.
Yes, sir.
I mean, approximately 5 million something.
Yes, sir.
Okay, can it be more than this?
No.
If
No,
I
sir.
do not borrow anything. Okay, now what you need to do, you need to allocate your expenses in a way. You see, 559, 188. So what I had to do, I had to allocate 559,188 in a way so that there is no remaining. Okay, so look at my statement of, not this one, this one. Okay, now I have allocated my expenses for food and clothing. I already have mentioned I do not have any recording for these expenses, but what can I do? I can have a guess that if I have a monthly rent for this amount, or if I do shopping for, or if I go to kitchen market, I can spend this amount. Okay, so by approximating those amount, and by approximating those amount, what can I do? You see the particulars here. This is the first item for food, clothing, and other essentials. This one, then housing expenses, then auto and transportation expenses. If you have your driver, that is also part of your expenses, his salary. And household expenses, we usually face this kind of expenses, utility, right?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Yes, sir.
It includes my internet bill for year. Okay. Okay, then if you go to some festival or attend some wedding party, you have to, then in the Eid festival, you have to buy gift for your parents, right? And in that case, you need to add the numbers. And if you visit somewhere, you need to spend money. And if you do some donation, you need to include that number here. Okay. And I have included my expenses for zakat also here. So what I am trying to show you, you see this figure, total expenses?
Yes, sir.
559,188. So this 559,188 must be equal to which amount? The income you have received in a particular year, and difference between the income, total income you have received in a particular year, and the increase in net wealth you have been able to do in a particular year. The difference will be equal to your, what is that? Annual living expenditure. If it is like that, say I have expenses of this, will it become questionable?
Yes, sir. It will.
Obviously, sir.
Okay, that is the way. That is the way people do to fill out their income tax return. Okay, but I hope that for transparency, for accountability in your personal life, and for having a good amount of long-term wealth for all of us, we need to maintain some good app like Money Manager, or a recording expenses, or any kind of Excel kind of a spreadsheet to record all of our expenses or income which we incur daily, monthly, annually. It's kind of rough approximation. Otherwise, if we do not have this recording, and I do not need to re-emphasize it because you have learned it very well from the financial accounting, that what is the importance of maintaining this record keeping. Okay, you will have a accountability in your personal life, you have a transparency in your expenses, and it will help you to plan for your long-term wealth, and also it will help you to maintain your to have a control on your expenses. Okay, so the way I practice, it is not a good way. Okay, so let's return to the cover page of the income tax return. We need to finish it very early. We will be running out of time. Okay. Okay, now have you got it? If you add this document, how those document will look like? This document, these two documents, a statement of assets, liabilities, and expenses, and a statement of lifestyle expenses. Okay. Now, if you are supposed to submit, in that case, you need to check yes. Okay. But based on my criteria, probably I was not supposed to submit. That's why I checked no. Okay, though I have attached those documents. Okay, now for me, as I have income from salary, I have included schedule 24A. I check this which are applicable and which I have attached. Okay, and statement annexed. Can you recall this document? I just have showed to you. These are the document. These are the statement of income, assets and liabilities, and the lifestyle expenses. These two documents. Okay. Now you see a list of documents I have attached with my income tax return to complement. Can you just to get an idea that which documents you need to attach with the income tax return? Otherwise, your return will not be acceptable, because income tax authority will need to make a cross check with the reference document and the mentioning of you in the income tax return. Have you got it? You see the document?
Yes, sir.
I have mentioned here.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you want to see any of this document for the reason that you do not know that how this one document look like? Anyone? Any document out of this that you want to see that how this kind of document look like?
Yes, sir. দেখতে চাই।
Which one? Which one you want to see?
লঙ্কা বাংলা।
Okay. This is a tax certificate from Lankabangla Al Arafa Sharia Unit Fund. I have a very small amount of investment, around 20,000 in this unit fund. So if I receive any dividend or if I receive any additional unit as a dividend, in that case, the tax status will be mentioned in this document. Okay, let me find out this document for you. Okay, this one probably. You see my screen?
জি স্যার, দেখা যাচ্ছে লোড নিচ্ছে।
Okay, you see what have been mentioned here. I have this profile and I have this investment details, and they have the purpose is that the main purpose is here. Okay, that how much dividend income I have received during this income year, and whether any income tax is applicable for or have been deducted at source on dividend. Okay, can you recall what is the TDS for the dividend?
10%.
10%. When? There are two conditions. 10% if my TIN certificate is with the dividend payer. If
Yes, sir.
my TIN
Otherwise,
certificate is not
15%.
there, they will charge TDS of how much?
15%.
They will charge TDS
যদি
of
স্যার টিআই না থাকে স্যার।
Yeah, they will charge TDS of 15%. Okay. So additional thing for calculation or complementing your income tax return, you need to attach the schedule 24D. I'm confident that you can recall this document very well. Okay, for investment tax rebate calculation, and by attaching this, I also have mentioned about it that I have included schedule 24D. And what is the implication of this? The implication of this is that I have been able to reduce my tax liability by how much?
Sir, 23,936.
It has been only available for making expenses, making new investment in the prescribed source mentioned in the schedule sixth schedule. Can you recall all of these items have been mentioned in the sixth schedule? Okay, and also in your text in the specific chapter. Okay, now in the final page, I have verified that what the information I have provided to you, to the best of my knowledge, all these are okay. All these are correct and complete. Okay, you see, very detailed signature and date of signature. So I have declared that these are okay. Okay, now there is a page in the last of the, on the very last page of the cover page, that is the acknowledgement receipt of return income. Can you recall in the previous class I mentioned that if you submit your income tax return by following 82BB, which is the universal method. Can you recall universal method? In that case, the acknowledgement receipt, what you will be taking, will be considered as the document as that your return submission has been done and your assessment is complete. But if you do not follow the 82BB, in that case, the tax officer will determine your tax based on the information provided by you, and the clearance will be available later. Okay, so that is the way that I have mentioned the particulars. These are some summary information for this copy will be available with me with the assessee. Okay, so what tax officer will do, you see the signature, the space for signature and the seal of the official receiving the return. So when you will be the assistant tax commissioner. Anyone wants to become the assistant tax commissioner?
স্যার হওয়া যায়।
Okay, so a tax commissioner, assistant tax commissioner or senior assistant tax commissioner will give his signature after receiving your income tax return, this respective, and you and this page, the acknowledgement receipt, will be given to you, and you have to maintain this document with you to claim the income tax certificate from the tax authority letter, which will be which is now which is in case of online e-filing has become available immediately. But when you submit the income tax return physically, it takes time to give you the income tax certificate. Okay, that provides evidence. I am just showing income tax certificate I received after submitting the income tax return online in the previous income year, not this year. Okay, you see, this is my income tax certificate. So what it certifies that I'm a registered taxpayer of this specific tax jurisdiction, and I have submitted the tax return for this income, this net wealth, and how much tax I paid, this amount for this assessment here under the ordinance, and this has been signed by this authority. So I think you have got a good idea that how income tax return submission process works. Okay, so we have used a good amount of time to discuss on that. Let me share some, let me use the remaining time for discussing on the income from business or profession, which is, okay, here. Income from business or profession. So out of the 10 income heading, you can recall that there was an income from business. But the thing is that for our scope of this course and the time constraint, we will not include the income from profession. But as our course title is business taxation, we will include the income from business. You may find that this item or this topic has not been mentioned in the course outline provided to you, but you need to include that that the income from business will be included in your course outline. And so we'll try to see that how the taxable income under the heading income from business is determined. Okay, taxable income, that is our purpose, and that is the main purpose for every head, that to know that how taxable income can be calculated. Okay, so first of all, if I ask you a very basic question, that under every heading, that salary, not in this way, that person pay income from their taxes, pay income taxes from their sources other than business, like salary, interest on securities, this thing. Okay, but do you agree that income from business and tax from the business income will have a very significant contribution in the tax revenue to the NBR?
Yes, sir.
It will have a very significant contribution because of the greater base of the business income. Okay, so in this business income, we have different parts. So in today's session, we'll try to concentrate on the individual business, or more specifically, more familiar term to you is the sole proprietorship business. Okay, so we know very well that business can also have partnership business can also have company business. Okay, but right now we have focused on the sole proprietorship business. So I do not like to ask you whether you understand the meaning of business. Okay, so you include any trading income, you include any commercial activity income, you include any income from manufacturing activity, you need to include any kind of income which look like trading, which look like business, which look like manufacture. Okay, if I ask you, I receive income from delivering lecture to you, is it look like a business income to me?
No, sir.
But if anyone asks that I have a coaching center, I deliver lectures there, and I receive income from there,
তাহলে স্যার সেটা
does it
হবে।
look like business income from business?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you need to understand that basic difference. The thing is that which are important, that in calculating taxable income, just to give you a very simple formula first, then I will show you that how can you elaborate your learning. Okay. Every business has some income, every business has some expenses. And the difference between these two is commonly known as operating profit, or we can think of taxable profit. I'm not inviting complexities in financial accounting, EBIT, that EBT. I'm not inviting that further breakdown. Is it the simple formula for getting the taxable profit or taxable base, tax base for the business income, or this is the base? Which one is base for tax in case of business?
স্যার ট্যাক্সেবল স্যার প্রফিট স্যার, মানে যেটা
Profit. Okay, so but in some specific cases this number can be taxable, this amount. but that is not the income tax. Say value added tax.
Yes, sir.
That is directly linked to
Sales.
You probably have seen news in the recent newspaper. I just can't recall the exact figure. The thing is that they, instead of including sales of 85 crore taka, they showed that they have a sales of 85 lakhs taka. So they have paid based on this 85 lakh taka sales, though they have collected VAT from the customers based on the 85 crore taka sales. That is very interesting. It is a case of avoidance or evasion?
So evasion, sir.
Gross evasion.
Yes, sir.
It's a kind of gross tax evasion. Okay. So these are some things practiced by some people which should not be. Okay, let's come to the discussion. Okay. Now, thing is that if it is such that there are some income here which tax authority is considering that those income should not be the taxable business income. In that case, if you have this number, what you need to do? You need to subtract those income which tax authority is considering that should not be included in the taxable profit. Is it that way of making adjustment? I mean, if some income tax authorities consider that you, for business purpose, you have included that item as income, but I'm considering that a particular amount should not be included as business income for tax purpose. In that case, how can you make adjustment here? By subtracting that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, out of the expenses you have included in the financial accounting, there may be some expenses which tax authority is considering that is not the allowable expenses in the tax jurisdiction. In that case, what you need to do to make adjustment?
So সেগুলো কি আবার যোগ করতে হবে?
You need to make some
Yes, sir.
addition of which
Yes, sir.
expenses?
যেগুলো স্যার allowable না।
Which are not allowable. And there are some expenses, say, that tax authority has said that you can spend, say, maximum 10,000 for this. Maximum 10,000 for this, okay? For this particular, okay, so say 100,000. But you have, say, here for that expense item, you have included, say, 120,000 expenses. How much? 120,000 expenses. In that case, what you need to do?
স্যার 20,000 যোগ করতে হবে
You
স্যার।
need to add the 20,000, okay? So right now we need to have the learning for some expenses which are allowable. We will concentrate on the discussion of this, some allowable expenses. In that case, what does it mean? It means that you have included that expenses. That is very okay. You do not need to subtract that, or you do not need to make any adjustment for that. But there are some expenses which are known as inadmissible. In that case, what you need to do? You need to add back those expenses with the taxable profit. Not taxable profit, I mean the taxable income. Okay. For what purpose? The purpose of making the precise estimation of taxable income. Okay. So let me give you some points based on which you can understand which expenses are allowable. Okay. Say you have a business in a building you have taken as a rent. Okay, that is the building. Okay, now in the top floor, you use this house as a dwelling house. You live there. But in this ground floor and the first floor, you use this space for your business. Have you got the case?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Right now we are discussing that admissible expense, admissible deduction with respect to rent, that the rent for the premise or rent for the property you are using for the business. Okay. Now, if it is wholly for the business, you do not live there. In that case, there is no question that if it is rent is 100,000, you can deduct how much for the rent? 100,000. You can deduct how much? 100,000. Okay. If the whole house property is used for what?
Business
Used for
purpose.
the business. But if it is such that 30% is used for business and 70%, sorry, 30% is used for dwelling in that house and 70% is used for business. And who is dwelling here? The owner himself. Is it very likely in our country, this kind of?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the businessman is very likely to include the rent of all total house property in as a business expense, as a business expense. Have you got it?
Yes, sir.
In that case, what you need to do, it is not permissible in, you need to make some adjustment here. Let me give you the hint that how can you make this adjustment. Say the rent for total building is 100,000. Okay, the rent for total building is 100,000. Now, in every area, for each of the house property, there is a municipality value. Has anyone heard about this term, municipality value? Has anyone heard about it?
So no, sir.
Okay. Okay. Let me give you an example. Say from this building, if it is used or if it has been rented out totally for residential or for just think of a very simple case for commercial purposes, I would get 10,000 every month from this building. I'm the owner. Don't match up the business owner with me. I'm a building owner. Okay, I have rented this building to whom? To the business owner. Okay. Now, if I multiply the monthly rent 10,000 by 12, how much I get? 120,000. Okay. I'm not inviting other complexities here. Just think of this, that if I rent out the total house property to someone, I'm expecting to receive reasonably how much?
120,000.
120,000. But house owners are sometimes likely to manipulate this number for reducing or showing less amount of income in their house property income. Say he actually receives 10,000, but he is showing that he receives his annual rental value is 96,000. Is it a very likely behavior from the house property owner?
স্যার এটা সবাই করে স্যার।
Okay. So we just have got the evidence in the support of this kind of evasion. Okay. That's why municipality value has come into play. Municipality means the city corporation or the Poroshobha. This authority, by making survey in every area under their jurisdiction, they provide an estimate that this building should have a annual rental value of 140,000. Who has provided this estimate?
Government.
Municipality authority. Okay. Now, between the municipal authorities provided estimate and the actual rental value, what the owner of the building is trying to claim, between this and this, which one is greater? This one? The municipality value is greater?
Yes, sir.
In that case, the greater one is considered as annual value of that particular house property. Have you got it? How we have come up with the annual value?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now, say out of this building, there are 12,000 square feet spaces available. Livable space, how much? 12,000 square feet. Now, if it has been seen that in that case, if it has been seen that the 30%, I mean the 3,600, this 3,600 for this portion, and for the remaining portion, which is how much? The remaining? It is the remaining. It is for the business. It is for the dwelling house. Okay. Can you separate it out?
Yes, sir.
We can separate it out. Okay. Now, if I give you the annual value is 140,000, can you allocate the 140,000 annual value between these two?
Yes, sir.
Is it possible for you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, let's assume for simplicity that 52,000 annual value out of 140,000 is applicable for house, dwelling house, and the remaining how much? $84,000 remaining?
Yes, sir.
It is for which one? Business premise.
Business.
Okay. Now you have got a proportion. You have got a proportion. Which was our rental value annual we need to pay as a business owner to the house owner?
So 1 lakh.
100,000. Now the rule is that only the proportion based on the annual value which is applicable for the business is allowable expense for rent. Have you got it?
Yes, sir.
This portion is not allowable. Which is allowable? The proportion of the rent based on what? Based on the annual value and based on the premise used by the business multiplied by the total rent to be paid for that house. Say this amount is 60,000. I'm not doing the right calculation. Just think of it. Now, instead of 1,000 as rent for the house where your business is situated, how much you can show as rent expense now? How much is allowable? How much rent is allowable?
60,000, sir.
60,000.
60,000. Have we got it? How can we have come up here? Have we got it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, there are so many particulars which can be compared with other item based on this understanding. If I just give you some other related items, that if I ask you about the repairs, cannot you make adjustment like this? If there is repairs expense, there is say maintenance expense, there is say security guard salary. Can you allocate in this way?
No, sir.
But this can be allocated. This can be allocated. Okay.
তাহলে কি স্যার সবগুলোর জন্য মিউনিসিপ্যালিটি ভ্যালু আছে?
The municipality value is not related to here. Is not related to this any one of this. Okay. But based on your calculation of annual value and based on your determination that how much annual value is applicable for my business, what can you do? You can make allocation for how much rent you can attribute to the business, how much repairs expense you can attribute to the, it may not be based on the annual value. It is not based on the annual value. But what I like to emphasize that based on this kind of proportional calculation, that the proportion for house, proportion for business, what can you do? What you need to do? You need to make proportional calculation. Okay. Now,
Yes,
in the business expenses, which proportion you need to include? The total or only the proportion which is applicable for the business?
Only applicable for the
It
business.
is only applicable for the business. So I think it is the right time to close out our session for today. We will continue from here in the next class. Okay.
স্যার কিছু কোশ্চেন আছে?